Hello everyone, this is your Krishna from Women Today YouTube channel. So in this channel, we have been interviewing many women entrepreneurs across different cities in India. We are just traveling to different cities and we are conducting offline interviews in their respective professionals office locations. And also we are conducting online interviews across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So right now, we have a guest from New Jersey and her name is Anindita. She is a STEM educator. So I welcome you, Anindita ma'am, to this Women Today YouTube channel. So please kindly introduce me about yourself so that people will be able to know about the kind of work that you're doing and the audience will be able to learn about yourself, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to your channel, and I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm Anindita Roy Burman. I live in New Jersey, and I'm a certified STEM educator. My professional background is I'm an engineer, MBA, and Master of Science in Information Systems. And right now, I run a platform online on Instagram and Facebook, wherein I share a lot of learning activities in early childhood learning that focus on the concept STEM. Um, so I would like to first talk about what is STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. So when you hear the word STEM, normally people kind of get overwhelmed, especially parents. They feel that, oh, that is something that we learn, in school, or maybe when, your child is in higher classes. But this is something like I would like to tell that STEM is something that starts very early, and this is the reason I am trying to just guide parents, show a lot of activities through play. That's my main motive here.
So that's a really great kind of introduction from you. So yeah, that was the very first question. Even before I was going to ask, you have answered me what is STEM actually. The combination of technology combining with engineering and at last with your kids education knowledge and all that, you're able to put this in the kids early education world. So also
Yeah.
tell us, ma'am, how do you make sure that you focus most of your kind of concentration on STEM? So where this kind of focus came and what really inspired you to get into this STEM educating kind of professional service that you're doing right now, ma'am?
Right. So, like, this brings me back to the personal life wherein I'm a mom to a 6 year old. He's a kindergartner. And that is when I actually, like, 6 years of my motherhood taught me a lot. I saw my child growing in different phases. So, like, I would say STEM is something that starts when your child is just a baby, like maybe a 6 month old, who is actually playing with his fingers, playing with shadows, playing, holding a ball in his hand. Maybe 2 years old, a child is building blocks, breaking them, like everything part by part has STEM in it. Now, let me explain like how that happens. Like if you see, a child just building blocks, that actually looks like the child is playing, like what we seeing, the thing we'll see that okay, the child is just playing. But let me tell you what he's doing. He's actually building, like the concept of building structure. That is something that we go like later on in engineering, wherein you actually learn how structures a building is made. So the thing starts very early, and when they, break the blocks, a lot of parents get very that why is my child behaving this way, they term it as misbehavior. But I would say he's not misbehaving, he's actually testing a lot of things, like he's breaking the blocks, he's testing gravity, like the concept gravity comes in. So these are some very small things that parents need to understand, that it is not that your child is like being naughty or not listening, it is something else that child is doing. So this is my main goal, to make them understand like what is going on with your child. Yeah.
So basically, like it's not only with the kids, it happens with most of the young boys. What will be happening is if their parents are bringing them any of their favorite toy, what
Yeah.
they actually ask, like before 10 to 20 years, before like 2 to 3 decades back, when I was just a kid, I can see me.
Right.
I was not in that kind of playthings, but my most of my friends, what they'll be asking their parents is they'll be asking logos. I'm sorry, it's called Legos. And also,
Legos.
yeah,
Yes.
that's kind of building blocks. They'll be making many things like construction building. They'll be constructing
Right.
cars, like something like that. So our
Yes.
brain will be thinking like, okay, the kids are playing, but the thing is that according to their perception, the way they see is they're building their own kind of project with buildings like car model, something like that. And also at the
Yes.
same time, you are speaking about the engineering kind of things, the technological kind of things. What they'll be doing a lot of small motor works. You can see a small
Yeah.
remote car which will be having a tiny motor inside it, and they'll be braking it. Once they are getting
Yes.
it, they'll be braking it immediately. They want to. They're
Yes.
just too much eager on what's really inside it. They don't,
Yes.
especially boys, because girls they deal with Barbie girls or something like that. But boys they always concentrate on cars, the kind of
Yes.
motor in it. So that's where your kind of STEM education comes into place because you're actually molding them, making their kind of interest to go in a very correct way. So how we
Yes.
can actually cultivate the interest in a very structured manner so that it will be helpful for them in the future. So I think
Yes.
this is how we can just put it. And also,
Yes.
what can we expect when we enroll our kid into this kind of STEM activities? So what really you actually make your kids learn in this kind of STEM activities, ma'am?
Right. So, like, if you see, there are a lot of activities going on, like online nowadays. I see that lot of parents are actually really spending like one-on-one time with their child and doing a lot of activities. Now, what I focus on, my approach is, it is not just that your child is staying engaged for say 30 minutes. Like a lot of activities are like, okay, I just need to engage my child. Let it be for 30 minutes. I'll give him something to play with and that's it. But I am focusing on what your child is learning in those 30 minutes. Like suppose your child is even building a blocks. What is the child learning? Why don't you ask questions that, hey, you have 5 blocks, can you make something other than a building? Let him come up with, him or her come up with some structures. Then like just ask questions. Suppose you're just going outside, your child is looking at flowers, looking at trees, looking at roads, looking at cars. Keep asking questions. Why is the sky blue? Why do the leaves fall on the ground? Why do leaves change color? Why are icicles shaped in a conical form? Like these are all the things that your child is seeing when you're going out. So always put questions. The main focus of my activities are when you do those activities, ask questions. Like yesterday itself, I did a very simple activity of a Play Doh and toothpicks. I was teaching my child shapes, like 2D shapes, 3D shapes. Now, most of the, like, if you see, like, there are a lot of worksheets online, there are a lot of books, and you can actually easily teach your child shapes starting from the age of 2, that this is square, this is triangle, this is rectangle. But what I do with my activities is let them build a square. Like when they are doing that, they know, okay, this is how the corners fix. Ask them questions. Do you know how many sides are there? Let them count practically. Like the practical learning is what is needed in a child. And always keep questioning them. Give them the freedom to think, explore, and come back with their ideas. Listening, like as a parent, you have to be a good listener. If you want a curious child to, come up with new ideas, like how are inventions even happening? That is when you give that space and freedom to your child to think beyond books, beyond worksheets, beyond any kind of structured learning. Yeah.
So basically, it's like what to say. Basically, it's like very simple. Whenever you're going to learn any activities, you make sure that whatever you have learned
Right.
you should actually question at the end of it so that
Yes.
our brain will be actually able to the neurons it will be able to kind of understand what we are actually going through. It's like
Right.
consider we are introducing our kids to football, we are
Right.
introducing our kids to cricket or any kind of volleyball or any kind of activities, or even it may be a small math problem, or even, as you
Right.
told, small kids activities like at the very end you should actually question them so that their brain will be kind of making a go around, and it will be asking, yeah, what we have learnt actually. So
Yes.
where we can actually apply these kind of things.
Correct. Yes.
So
And like you don't really need any fancy kits or materials. Like a lot of parents have come to me and said, you know what, like you set it up so beautifully, like you have these things to work with your child. And I'm like, you don't need these fancy things. Like now I have started using all everyday materials. Like Play-Doh is something you know everyone has. Toothpicks is something we all use. I have also done activities with vegetables and fruits. Like if you want to teach simple math concept, just take 2 tomatoes and 4 onions and just let them add. If you have some toys lying around, maybe balls or maybe any broken toy, just let them make patterns out of it. Like you can use your everyday house items in the best way possible. You don't need toys, you don't need anything fancy to teach STEM. Like even if your child is pouring water like in the glass, even that is a concept, that is volume, like liquid. Let him pour ice into the glass, let him see how solids work. So this is all like just like let the child brainstorm, let the child think what is going on, let the experiment fail, let the activity fail. Maybe it, like there are some activities that turn messy, like my son loves messy play. So at the end, maybe whatever I'm planning, it doesn't go that way, but there is something he's still learning. Like he is trying his own methods. They learn with like trial and error. They will fail, but there is one thing that they are learning. They might cry. Like a lot of times my son tries to do that activity, he fails, and then like he'll cry, mama, I can't do it. And I'm like, try again, try the third time, try the fourth time. This is what you do in life as well. Like all you do is you have to keep trying. Failures are there, but you have to learn from that failures, and one day you will be successful. So that's all, like that is all I have in my mind when I'm teaching parents, like guiding parents. Like there is a lot you can do from a very early age. Like don't let that time slip away. Like okay, when he'll go grow up, I'll give him tuition classes, or there we'll figure it out. But now the world is changing. Like we have to think differently. 20 years down the line, books and all are like now going to be ancient. Like they need real problem solving skills, logical thinking, critical thinking. You have to be something different. Yeah.
So that was what you were actually trying to say in the beginning of the conversation. You told that whatever happens with your kids, let them do. It may be
Yes.
looking like they are just making some kind of things which is not kind of good, but the thing is that they are actually learning. They are learning
Right.
from scratch. That's the
Yes.
very first thing which we should understand. And of
Yes.
course, these kind of things should be actually encouraged. Then
Yes.
only it will ultimately, as you told, even pouring a cup of water in a glass bottle is something like they'll be understanding the volume concept.
Yes.
When they're walking in the grass, it's something like they're making some kind of connections to the ground. When
Right.
they're playing chess, or it's like even it may be they're playing with any clay or something like that, they'll be able to make, analyze, and they'll be able to recognize the touch of the clay, and they'll be able to
Yes.
understand that this is a thing which can be modified into different kind of objects. But
Yeah.
legos, they're totally built in a very different material, they cannot be modified, they can actually be
Yes.
structured in some other way, but this can be modified into different shapes. So
Right.
these are the very small things which we can, which we actually, when people, when, yeah, when parents see the kids playing in mud or clay or something like that, they'll be thinking like they're very mischievous. But the real thing is they're actually making some kind of connections. Of course, there is some kind of limits, but do not fear to even enter, make your kid enter into that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since you are telling that, yeah, do not worry about your kids being too much messy. That's the
Yes.
place where they can actually learn. And who
Learn.
knows, when kids does some kind of messy things. Consider if they're playing football and they're making a lot of messy things, like mud which is splashed around the corners of the wall. No need to worry. But yeah, there is a famous football player. Even they can become like them. In fact, his name is Messi. So
Yeah.
so this is what parents need to understand, that okay, whatever happens with our kid, we should actually make them understand that they're actually going in a very progressive manner. Of course, there are some things which we can make kids learn, and also at the same time we can actually make them understand that this is not good. So it's
Yeah.
all in our, ultimately in our hands. And you were just telling that we should actually introduce this kind of concept at the very early age. So tell us,
Yes.
how do you actually kind of tell your parents coming to you that introducing STEM education at the very early age is very important? So how do you actually convince them?
Right. So, like, I shared a very, very simple story, which I call it like STEM way of story of a thirsty crow. Like, that is something, like, that's one of my favorites, and even my son's, because that was the first story I did. I enacted with him. Like, I have it on my channel. And what I did there was, like, we all know what does the crow do? It cannot take, like, it cannot drink water with the beak because the water is too low. So what it does, it thinks, okay, the crow is putting the stones inside the pot, and slowly the water is rising. Now, it's a very simple story. Like, we all have heard it in, kindergarten, be it class one, like even 2 year old, 3 year old, we all have that Thirsty Crow storybook with us. Growing up, even we, like, that never gets old. But now let me tell you what concept that story is teaching the STEM way. That is the concept of displacement. Now, that is a physics concept that, like, your child will learn in the later elementary age, like class 5, 6. You will see when, like, physics come into picture. It is more of how the water is rising because the stones are falling. So that's actually displacement. But your child is already doing that at the age of 2. So now you tell me, isn't that STEM? Isn't that curiosity, or isn't that learning? Focus on those learnings, that what is the takeaway from it. Just don't tell the story that, okay, the crow is doing, but then what is the takeaway? Like, focus on the takeaways. That's what I would tell parents. Question, why did the stone, why did the water rise? Put more stones. What happens? Does it still rise? There is one more concept that the story teaches, and that is sink and float. Is the stone floating or is it sinking? Now, the stone is heavy, so it sinks. So your child understands that sinks. Again, repeat that with something that floats, like a sponge or a cotton ball. Let that child see, is that happening? Is that thing floating? So there are two concepts I just told you: displacement and sink and float. So I always see everything around me with this concept and what I can teach. You don't have to introduce those like heavy words now, but question them. That is my main goal. Later on, their brain starts mapping this, like curiosity, exploring, thinking beyond the box. Slowly their brain gets trained in a way, when they actually learn that concept, they will correlate. Oh, I did that. I know this concept. This is not something new. I can learn it. You don't need books to, memorize what is displacement. You know it. You are just adding stones. The water is rising. That is displacement. Now, you just explain it in a beautiful way when you are growing up. That time you need a little better language. But this is what it is. Like, it start from now on, like 2 years, 3 years. Just keep doing it. You will see by the, like, when they are like 20 years down the line, they have everything, like, connected. You don't have to worry about it. They will figure out everything.
So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, basically like you're putting dots in the neurons of the brain so
Yes.
that when they
Exactly.
grow, and at one point of time, after 5 years, 10 years, they'll be kind of connecting each and every dot. It's
Yeah.
like, consider I have I think it's called constellations or something like that. I think the dots where you actually connect the stars.
Yes. Constellations. Star
Yeah,
constellations. Yes.
constellations. What will be happening? We can just make different kind of figures like deer or like
Yes.
lion or like dolphin or something like that. So it's
Yes.
like you're connecting the stars with the dots. So that's
Right.
how, of course, our God has made humans, each and every organ, parts of our body which is connected to our nature. So, of course, these neurons are like the stars. We can actually connect with them
Correct.
with these kind of memories will be, of course, we do not know what we are actually learning now. As you told us a thirsty crow story, what happens, each and every Indian know, because this was the story which we learnt when we are during our childhood ages. What will be happening,
Yes.
they will be simply throwing the stones, and of course water level increases, and after a certain period of time it comes out. So we don't know, we just simply understand, but to the core, if we go, it's simply a physics concept. So it may
Yes.
be learned when we actually come across 8th or ninth standard in Indian education system. So that's what
Right.
you're trying to say. I do understand. So also at the same time, ma'am, what are the other skills that our kids can learn when we enroll into this kind of STEM education? And of course, when we are talking, I can very well understand that there are a lot of play based activities for kids which they are doing in online and offline classes. But your way of teaching actually it classifies and it puts in a very different, unique way. So you're actually totally different from other play based activities that I can actually understand. So tell us, ma'am, what are the other skills that a kid can learn from these kind of STEM educations at a very early age, ma'am?
Yeah. So, like, one, I would say problem solving skills, like, just give them a challenge, let them figure it out on their own. That actually improves their thinking, like, how will I solve that problem? And that they can use it in any phase of their life. Second is curiosity, because that is something wherein the kid learns to think beyond the box, ask questions, figure out answers, look for answers. Third is logical thinking. Like, you don't have to memorize everything. Everything you will learn while you do that activity in a playful way. There is no worksheet, there is no stress, there is no pressure. You won't feel bored because everything that is there, you won't even realize that your child is actually not, like your child is not feeling bored and still learning so many things. And next is like, never giving up, like that is a very big skill, because your child keeps trying. There are a lot of activities which are new, so it takes time for the child to understand. And as and when, like, your child keeps trying, they understand, okay, I cannot give up, like keep pushing them. So these are, like, I would say, 4 or 5 skills which your child would learn through these STEM activities.
So basically, like there is a saying that you when you go through a lot of struggles at a very early age, you'll be able to understand the world and you'll be able to conquer the world. When you're not given things at a very early age, any material kind of things, then only you'll be able to know the worth of it, and you'll be
Yes.
able to kind of think in a very logical way that how can we actually attain it even if we do not have anything. And it kinds of makes our neurons strong in even at an early age. So that consider many people who are really very humble and they could not have a very good lifestyle, and if they're having a lot of struggles at the very early age, I have seen many people like that. Consider fast forward after 10 to 20 years, they will be in a very higher position. They will be having a lot of kind of achievements in their life since they have learnt without having any materials in the early age. That's why that's the kind of concept which you're making your kids to learn. Of course, you said that give them a problem and tell them how can we solve it. Of course, you do not tell them a solution that this is the way to solve it. You're just giving them the problem and you're making them ask themselves the question so that their brain will
Yes.
be giving them the solution according to the current situation.
Yes.
So in the same way, that's what happened in the real world. So that's what you're also teaching. So that's really a great thing being a STEM educator, ma'am.
Yes. So,
So
like, my job is to instruct parents. Like, I am an instructor to parents, not kids, because for me, I would let the kids do what they want in that activity. Like the first thing that I do is I just give those materials to my son. Like it's just on the table. He comes up with a lot of activities are actually invented by him, not by me. So I am an instructor to parents, and I would say you also be present, but let your son or your daughter be the instructor. Let them have the whole control. You will see they will come up with wonders. Like you can't even imagine the kind of thoughts they have.
So
Yeah.
basically, like children are evolving. I can see a lot of
Yes.
kids, really. I'm not saying it for namesake or something like that. I can see a lot of kids like what I was in a mindset like when I was in like 10th standard in Indian education standards. Now I can see even a 5th standard student, they're in that kind of mindset. They're like 5 years ahead. So,
Right.
yeah, we can actually learn from children and we can actually give them the kind of rights to control us in a very good, positive manner. So,
Yes.
also tell us, ma'am, how do you make sure that you actually help and train parents to make the kids play with this kind of STEM educational activities in a very safe environment and a safe play mode in their respective homes? So, tell us about it, ma'am.
So, like most of my activities, they are very safe. Like, I have printables that I normally give out to parents just to make them understand, like, these are the materials you need. So, those, like, mostly whatever activity I post, I give those printables, like, free. And, like, that does not include anything that's like would be an issue, but still I would say, like, always, if your child is really like small, young, I would say just be there, uh, to just control in case like there's something off happening than the activity, like putting it in mouth or something. But nowadays, like, if you see, there are a lot of safe kind of like Play-Doh, these are all available, which is not that harmful. But yeah, my like I have my printables. I also give some podcasts wherein like I talk about these activities. I'm trying to do more because a lot of parents have been asking like how to do these activities. Like they look really good, but we don't have time at all. Like we are very busy. So that is where, like, I would say always watch my videos, always watch my stories that I put up, and go through my printables, because stepwise I have explained, because I do it with my son, so I just kind of transfer it to my printables so that people understand how to do that with the child at home safely. Yeah.
So also tell us, ma'am, even if you kindly kind of educate to the ultimate level to the parents coming to you, there must be some kind of common mistakes which each and every parent commit when they're educating their younger children. So tell us what are the
Right.
common mistakes and how can one avoid them, ma'am?
So mostly the mistakes, like I would say, it's not even a mistake. It is more of like parents just being ignorant, because that happened with me as well. What happens is, like if something is going wrong with the activity, parents really get frustrated that, okay, I thought it would go this way, but it did not go. Like the result is something else. But let me tell you, every child is different. So don't like have a lot of expectations and like put in a lot of pressure. If it doesn't go that way, it's fine. Let it go the way your child is, leading it. Like suppose if it's a ice activity, like I have an activity wherein you're just stacking up the ice with salt. Now there are a lot of kids who won't want to do that, but they would want to maybe play with it, or they would want to put that in water. Do that. Let them do that. In that also there is something they are learning. Let them paint on that. Do anything that you want. So like don't be the instructor. Like don't push them that no, you have to do it this way. Let me tell you, my activities are like a guide, but doesn't have to be like totally the same way. Like I have a lot of parents who have tried my activities and they say, okay, they send me pictures. I thought that it would be this way, but it went this way. And I'm like, wow, like this is again a new invention. Your child just invented another new activity. So let it go that way. Take ideas from me. but then let your child put in new ideas, you will see there are more creations, more such STEM activities will come out of it. And that is what I want. Like, I want all the parents to do what I am doing. Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you are saying, I think the universe actually connected with me right now in a very different manner. I'll tell you how that happened. It's very simple. You are just giving an activity to the parents to make kids go through it so that their brain will be able to learn a very new kind of things. And consider
Right.
if things do not go in the very planned manner, and if anything happens, no need to worry about it. We can
Right.
actually make it go in that way so that we can actually make even that a different kind of activity. So that's what
Yes.
you're trying to sell. And
Yes.
what happened now is very simple. My camera, which was facing me right now, it was actually
Mhm.
going into a very different side.
Right.
Now what I am trying to tell why this interview is very simple, that consider most of the interviews I have done, many online interviews. The thing is that our brain will be expecting only very simple thing. What a podcast we can expect, of course, two-person
Yeah.
they're going to discuss about a certain topic, but the very
Right.
real thing which people actually want in their minds is they always want in a very structured manner, and they do not kind of accept any kind of defects. But the thing is
Right.
that this is the natural thing which we are actually humans. We make mistakes, and you can see
Mhm.
many of the videos which is going very viral. It
Yeah.
90% it must be because of the kind of concept, and the real learning will be behind. So only when
True.
we make mistakes, people will be able to kind of have an entertainment, and they'll be able
Mhm.
to remember it till the end of the life, because
Yeah.
it's actually unique from other kind of things. Only we can remember things. Our brain will be able to remember things, the unique things only.
Right.
So I think we can actually learn from these kind of things which is happening in our life, and ultimately whatever things are going to happen, let it happen. We can just make it in a very different structured manner.
Right.
I do understand. So also tell us, ma'am, nowadays people will be having a lot of fear, especially parents, that their kids should not be going through any kind of problems. The thing is that if they think like that, and if they're making the kids to go in a very safe mode, then the kids will not be learning any kind of problem solving skills, and also they will
Right.
not be able to have any kind of independent kind of skills. So how do you
Right.
make sure that parents teach these kind of problem solving skills? And tell us about your kind of experience in these kind of things. Tell us about it, ma'am.
So, like, we all know, like, with AI coming in, right now, the skills that, like, we had, that is not gonna help anymore for the coming generations. So, it's more like 20 years down the line, the things that we have learned, or like the jobs that we have been doing, like, everything is now ancient. Like, things are now just twisting, like turning. Even the curriculum in schools, colleges, they are changing according to AI. So I have been like using a lot of concepts that would actually help parents teach their child from a younger age, which would help them kind of grow in this AI kind of world. So, like, that is my main motive when I design an activity or come up with an activity, that how this is gonna help the child maybe 20 years down the line. It is not just a concept, it is not just learning so and so, it is beyond that. So right now what AI is focusing on, how creative you can be, how differently you can think, because now the traditional skills of like coding, okay, like those, the things that can be done by a human, those are now being replaced by AI tools. So you have to go a step higher. So how do you do that? By changing your way of teaching kids as well, be it at school, be it at home. So I have seen schools implementing that. Like, I'm very happy to see, like, the way we were being educated, now a lot has changed, like, throughout the world. Like, people are implementing, schools are very serious. There are a lot of schools even having these STEM based projects. Like even my son's school, I have seen they have been sending out things like projects which actually help in the STEM learning. So now it's the parents that have to change. It's not like just give 2 3 worksheets and let your child do it and they are happy, you are happy. That won't lead your child anywhere later on. Like that gap would be created, it will be massive, and like 20 years later you will feel that, oh no, I don't have those skills that are needed for this AI dominated world. So that's from me.
So I think that's the best advice which you can give to your parents through these kind of
Yeah.
STEM educations at a very early age. Because
Yeah.
as you told, yes, of course, what we have learned before 10 to 20 years back, it's now before I think like during my childhood days, I used to learn typewriting. My father used to tell us that if you learn typewriting, then you will be able to, if you go and work for any IT companies, then at that point of time, you will be able to type each and every letters at a very high pace.
Yeah.
But the thing right now is has changed even before I go to college. The thing is
Yeah.
that the world, once I stepped into my high school, like my 12th standard, Facebook was invented by Mark Zuckerberg, and
Yes.
people were into internet. They'll be typing, a lot of chats will be happening, and even without going to many typewriting centers, we will be able to type messages at a very high fast pace. So
Yeah.
that's how things has evolved.
Yeah.
So consider what kind of things we are going to learn right now. We are just putting our kids into different kind, enrolling our kids into different kind of classes. But thing is that we don't know which kind of skill will be able to kind of help them in which kind of stream.
Yeah.
Maybe some or the other will be. That's why I think your kind of STEM education, even at an early age, that comes at
Yeah.
a very full circle. That yeah, this kind of things will actually help them in some or the other way.
Yes.
So also,
Like
yes,
I
tell
don't
me.
have like any, I don't have any worksheets or any specified like structure to follow. It's like my things evolve from just experience, exploring with my child, and curiosity. Like there are things that even I think, there are things that my son think, and we implement it together. So this is what, like even I would say all parents right now in different professions, be it doctor, engineer, or a teacher, like everyone is going through this change. Like you yourself being in that profession know that, okay, whatever I have learned, I have to change. So imagine how much your child has to change. Like the way we were brought up, that's not going to work with our children anymore. So think, like I would like really encourage parents to think you have to change your way of teaching at home, because we are the role models. So if we don't change our learning, we don't change our thinking, how will our child model that and go forward? They need someone to push them. So you are the people who, have to push your child. Yeah.
So also in between, you are just telling about learning kind of concepts. You are just encouraging parents to teach them learning while they're playing. So tell us about your approach for this learning through play, and also tell
Mhm.
us, ma'am, how do you make these kind of complex concepts very simple? Like
Right.
there will be a lot of complex concepts happening. So how do you
Yeah.
make sure that you are making things very simple, ma'am?
So, like, whatever approach I follow, it's like practical hands on learning. Like, I don't have any writing work or anything. Like, it's just my son playing, doing an activity, be it building, be it pasting, be it cutting. Like, all those activities are also teaching them. Like, you don't have to always do the traditional way of learning. Like it is important, I get it, because like in schools also you have to go through a curriculum. But I would say also encourage, like if your child is learning colors, let your child play with colors at home. If your child is learning some physics concept like motion or acceleration, like these are the physics concepts that come in, gravity, let your child experience that at home. Like we have labs in school, but even they don't have so much time to go in depth with every like single concept. So this is where you give that platform to your child to test those things, to understand those things on their own. So I have been doing that. Like if my child is learning shapes, I make it sure that I give something related to shapes to my child. Now, there are a lot of people who say, okay, I don't have Play Doh. Okay, you don't have Play Doh. You have grapes, you have tomatoes. Do anything with that. Like everything has a concept over there. So just, reframe your mind, replace the items that I am using with yours. If I am using sponge, you can use pom pom. If I am using Play Doh, you can use a marshmallow. You can use small grapes to just, use the toothpicks on it to make those models. So everything has a way of doing. If you don't have Legos, that's totally fine. You don't need Legos. Do it with normal blocks. Do it with, pile of glasses. Like anything would teach you the same concept. So always have a open-ended mindset with your kid. You will see that learning is very easy. Don't make it structured. They are already going through a lot in schools and classes. I feel like it's so competitive right now, but at home let them have that relaxation. You will see like that is a kind of a calming thing for them. That is what they need. It's not they don't need screens. Like this is one more thing that is like very common. I hear that my child is addicted to screens. You don't need screens if you give these activities. You will see your child just doing those things for hours. Like I don't have ipad like I have, but I don't give my son ipad. Nothing digital. Like it's all maybe on weekend we have movie nights, but other than that mostly I keep my child screen free, and it's only through these. And I haven't like I see that he is enjoying, so I'm sure the other kids also would. So that's why like that is the reason I have this platform.
Of course,
Yeah.
we didn't play actually with any kind of iPads or something like that. We used to have just chess set or kind of carom boards or
Yeah,
something like that.
or
So
maybe like video games later on, like
yeah,
there
later
were
on,
video
yeah,
games.
not like any kind of PlayStation. It was normal chip
Yeah,
video games.
yeah,
That chip,
yeah,
they'll be having like 400 games, but we'll be having like just 4 games. They'll
yeah,
be telling
yeah,
like we'll be having 400, but we'll be. That's how our childhood was. But right now, it's
yeah,
a very new world. If you start
yeah.
downloading games from Play Store, you can be downloading it from sunset
Yes,
to sunrise. So that's how
yes.
things goes.
So that
So
is again one more like thing I would like to point out to parents. You are raising a child in a AI dominated and a screen, like a world full of screens. So it is very, very different now. So how do you cope up with that stress of bringing your child? And now mostly all families are nuclear families and like small families wherein you don't have a lot of support, like the emotional and mental support from family. So it gets really hard. Like I know how I have passed through this phase, because like we are in US and we don't have family over here. So some days are really hard, some days are really dull, dark. And I would say like these things keep my child going, and that is how like I found out a way to cope up with my stress from the rest of the like my stress, not my child's, but my stress. So same goes with the other parents as well. You all have something or the other you're juggling. So just pivot this, you will see even you are relaxed, even your child is relaxed. Yeah.
So yeah, nowadays families keep on shrinking. So
Yeah.
that's why there is a lot of age gap, like generation gap,
Yeah.
something like that happening. So yeah,
Yeah.
ma'am. So we have learned a lot about STEM education. So being a STEM educator, what are the kind of future kind of plans that you're having, and what are the things that you plan to do in the future, ma'am?
Right. So, like, my goal is to, give as much of activities, like, structure the activities in a way that are easy for parents. And, like, I would really love to organize workshops later on for parents, because there are some parents who are really busy, and I get it. And they always tell that, okay, if you are starting something, why don't you just let us know? Because we are really interested. Like, we want to see what you are doing with the kid, because like I do post activities, but a lot of time it's difficult to post like how I'm actually approaching my child, because I can't have like long 1 hour videos for every reel. So, or the video. So that's the reason. Like they are insisting me to start workshops. So that's in my plan. But right now, like I'm focusing on designing the printables that would help your child. And a lot of parents are actually doing it and coming back to me that okay, we tried this and our child really enjoyed this. So let's see like how it goes, but like this is my plan, and I love teaching kids. I love educating parents. Like I'm a talker, and like you know like I have been speaking on and on. So yeah, like I love talking to parents, listening to them, kind of guiding them what I can do. So that's my plan. Like I would love to do this.
Also tell us, ma'am. So, does your kind of STEM education kind of concept is only for children? Because you have told us that you actually make kids learn in a very fun way, making them introduce in a world where they do not learn from books. It's kind of newly curated concepts with materials, playthings in a very structured manner. So, only kind of kids who voluntarily want to have themselves educated in this kind of still educated kind of things can enroll, or is it like parents who also need some kind of special kind of education for their special children who needs a very lot of things to get themselves engaged in the real world? Because I can see a lot of parents who have kids with different kind of special needs like autism or ADHD, something like that. So those kids, they need a very special kind of concept. They need a lot of things which should bring from their own world into this kind of real world, which will make them have a lot of interaction with the environment, with the parents, with the kids around them. So tell us how your kind of STEM education system can actually make kids who actually need special needs, and which will also help parents. So tell us about it now.
So, like, this is a very good thing to discuss, like, a very great question. Because when I started posting STEM activities online, a lot of parents from like different parts of the world who have special needs kids, like kids with Down syndrome, kids with autism, ADHD, who cannot follow the traditional way of learning in school. It's like a too much pressure on their brain because they are differently wired. Like their brains take things differently, absorb things differently. So that normal kind of education doesn't work for them. So that is where they told me that can my kid do this activity? And I'm like, yeah. Like if you want to teach a simple concept of gravity, why won't your child be able to break blocks? If you want to teach something of colors, why can't your child just mix colors? Let it be messy. But there is learning. The sink float concept. Your child cannot read a book, fine, but your child can still do that activity and learn from it. So then slowly I also got some DMs from speech therapist, from occupational therapist, who actually told me that your this activity, like there was a very simple this egg activity of sink and float, and they said that this I could use in my speech therapy session, this I could use in my occupational therapy, because this is how we actually teach kids. So these are the experiments or activities. These are very simple ones, and that way your child can gain that self confidence. So I would really encourage even the special needs parents. Like I totally resonate with like what you are going through and what all questions you have. If you have any questions, personally DM me and I would love to go through it. Yeah, like that's all. Yeah.
Really, that's a great thing, ma'am, because of course, people who need a lot of attention for the special needed children, of course,
Yeah.
I can see a lot of kids who need a lot of attention from parents, because
Yeah.
consider it's not like different. They actually need still more a lot of effort.
Effort.
Consider, yeah, that's what, because consider a person who is from, consider even a graduate after an engineering degree, they two graduates are going for the same IT company and they're learning coding. Some people
Right.
require a lot of attention to learn
Yes.
different concepts. In the same way, some kids need a lot of
Yeah.
attention, and for those
Yeah.
kids, they need a special training, which will help
Yes.
them to make the future a better one. So that's
And
where,
for those kids, only play based learning. Like if special ed parents are watching right now, you know what I'm talking about. Your kid is learning through only play. So something that even your occupational therapist or your speech therapist is doing, let me tell you, you can do the same thing at home by just watching my videos. Like just see, these are plain, simple, nothing to do. But you'll see your child is learning a lot. So
so
that's like that extra support you are giving.
yeah, simple. As you told, do not make them go into their own world by just going scrolling devices like
Yeah.
phone or iPad.
Yeah.
Instead, you can just give them some play materials. Of course, even if you have
Yes.
some, I think I have seen a video where you can see a baby. What they'll be doing is they'll be handing over the baby a simple kind of plastic bag filled with water, filled with small
Sensory.
marbles.
Yes. Yes.
It will be play. I think that piece, green piece, I think
Yes.
they'll
Yes.
be filling a simple plastic bag. They'll be
Yes.
making sure that each and every corners is tightly sticked so that the water won't spill
Yes.
out, and they're introducing peas
Yes.
inside it. Even I,
Yes.
as a matured person, I used to. I haven't seen it. I have seen it only in video, but I haven't touched it in 3D mode. So I think that will be even more some kind of for
Yes.
us it will take at least 2 minutes to enjoy it. But for kids,
Yes, it
it
is.
will be
It is
taking a
like
lot of time.
sensory. It is
Sensory kind of
called
thing.
like I would sensory regulation, emotional regulation. And let me tell you, I live in a country wherein 8 months are very cold. So at that time, like my child cannot go outside. So at home, he goes crazy because he's not able to. They need movement. They want to jump. They want to play outside. So it is a sensory regulation that they need to calm down. Their body is overstimulated. So these activities will help. Like when they touch the snow or the ice, when they touch Play-Doh, when they mix something or play with it, that gives them a lot of peace. You will see adults, you will see we are using those stress balls right nowadays. Like there are a lot of things that are available in different sites. Use a stress ball, use a fidgeter. These are all nothing but calming things, a stone to just touch. So that is also one thing that these activities focus on. It's not just education, also it is this part also. Like you get a lot from the emotional and the sensory part as well. Yeah.
So really, that's what we are having a good kind of wavelength. So that's why we are able to discuss all these kind of good things, which will help people in the society to upbring their child to a very better future. That's a great thing, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So also very final question for this interview is very simple. Via this interview, if you want to tell any kind of message to the society, to the audience who are watching this interview right now, it may be to the kids, old age person or middle aged person or anyone.
Yeah.
What will be that one particular message that you would like to convey to the audience right now, ma?
The only message, like, I'll keep it very simple. Focus on your child. Like, parents, child is important. Grandparents, your grandson, granddaughter is important. Anyone in this world, like, if has to, like, the world is growing, all you need is to focus on your child. That's all. Like, I think the parents will get the message. My entire thing is about child, nothing else. Like, it's just the early childhood learning. That's all.
So yeah, focusing on children and also at the same time not putting pressure on them. Instead,
Yes.
let them live their life, let them explore, let
Yes.
them do some kind
Yes.
of mistakes, let them learn the kind of
Yeah.
things that they can learn from the mistakes that they do. Of course, we can be like a protection for them, but not like
Yeah.
a kind of walls which do not let them out to see the world. So it's like
Yes.
we can actually kind of protect them when they fall, but do
Yeah.
not think like we should not make them fall, because without falling
Yeah.
we can't actually get up with, we can't learn the skills of be getting up from the ground. So these are
Yeah.
the things which I learned from you, because
Yeah.
these are the things which you told as a STEM educator, that we should actually make kids learn from their own mistakes. We should make them some kind of things that they can actually love doing some kind of mistakes, learning from
Yeah.
mistakes.
Mhm.
These are all the kind of things that we learnt via the STEM educating world, ma'am. That's a great thing, ma'am. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a great kind of conversation with you, ma'am. So people who
Thank you
are,
for having me.
yeah, really, thank you for allowing me to host this interview. That was a great conversation with you, ma'am, because we have learned a lot. That was this is a truly unique concept. Of course, there is a lot of play-based activities online and offline, but STEM education is something like unique which you are doing to the society. So that's why I tell people who are watching this interview, if anybody wants to have some kind of STEM education related kind of doubts or concept, I'll mention Anindita ma'am Instagram link in the YouTube description. You can go click it, have a kind of conversation with her. And please do subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will be receiving notifications whenever I do post new videos regarding women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. You can also comment in the comment section if you have any kind of doubts. So, yeah, ma'am. Thank you once again, Anita, ma'am. So, today's your host is Krishna, hosting this Women Today YouTube channel. And today's our guest is from New Jersey, from US, from America. That's a great, one of the great country. And she is a great STEM educator. So, thank you, Anita, ma'am, for having a wonderful conversation with me, ma'am. So, good evening,
Thank you.
ma'am. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Bye bye.